Well, I'm so thankful to have you back on. Again, you're one of my favorite people in the world. It's such a privilege just to be able to have a conversation with you. So I
Thank
wanted to bring
you.
you on, obviously, to talk about Stephen Colbert. I'm sure you have some thoughts on this whole fiasco. I guess we should start. What is your assessment of Colbert? Because from my perspective, it looks like Colbert is trying to position himself as a martyr because he knows that when he inevitably gets spit out after this contract expires, he's going to have to develop a narrative for himself of why you should tune into his show. It appears he's trying to portray himself as a brave truth teller that's being stifled by the establishment. Is that your assessment as well?
Yes, that's pretty much the posture of all liberals.
Yeah.
I've written about this, I've commented on it. No matter what they do, it has to be heroic.
Right.
They could be speaking to, a group of Planned Parenthood and saying, damn it, I'm pro-abortion. I'm for a woman's right to choose. Oh, that was so brave,
Yeah.
so brave. No, they have no concept of what bravery is. I mean, his audience is already basically the same audience, except maybe even smaller than MSNBC or MS Now.
Right.
Um, I mean, it's just the same people watching all of these shows. And as long as you call Trump a poopy head, oh my gosh, that was so brave.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, maybe, obviously you have so much experience, your resume precedes you, obviously. Maybe you could give some inside baseball on the media side of this. So CBS is saying, no, we did not tell him that he couldn't air the Tallarico interview. What we told him is, hey, by the way, if you bring him on, the FCC could potentially have a problem with it if you don't also bring on Jasmine Crockett. Is this how this works? Is it true what he's saying, where he's like, oh, CBS, came in and blew this up? Or is it more likely that he's trying to, spin up a narrative here? I don't know. Maybe you can break down how this all works, or at least, give a surface level view of what's going on here.
Well, you've described it pretty well. I mean, my guess would be, who knows what what the lawyers actually said, but my guess is the lawyers told him what the law is.
Right.
That's usually what they do. And yeah, the law is equal time. People have already started voting. If he had
Mm-hmm.
wanted to interview this guy, I don't know when they started voting, but I think it's quite recently. So if he had interviewed this guy, say, a week ago, there would be no equal time rule. But when an election is ongoing, if you're going to interview one side, you have to give equal time to the other side. That's what the rule is. I assume that's what they told him. And yes, I think you're absolutely right. The more you act like you're a martyr, I mean, look at ridiculous excuse me, ridiculous Don Lemon, the
Yeah.
greatest thing that ever happened to his career. Nobody even knew he was still alive.
Yeah, literally.
Was to, I don't know, in my opinion, he was joining with the activists. He was not
Right.
not behaving as a journalist. I mean, the idea that, whoa, he just has a nose for news, newsman, Don Lemon. He just thought if he hung out outside this church, maybe something would happen. No, he was in it, organizing with them from the beginning, behaving indistinguishably from one of the activists. I mean, I suppose, and I'm not really sure how to evaluate, not sure you want me to even bring this up, but the emails between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein, for
Mm-hmm.
example, it, I'd like to assume, I like Steve Bannon,
Right.
so I would like to assume that the friendly emails were just because he wanted to do the interviews. I mean, remember that there was a movie made out of it, and I can never remember the guy's name. I think it might be something McGinnis. Was McGinnis the killer, or was he the author? But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, there was an author of, I don't know, true crime. He goes and interviews a doctor who's in prison for killing his wife. And he claimed, no, it was a bunch of like Manson family people who came in and killed my wife. And he's very, very, very sympathetic to this guy who's sitting in jail when he's talking to him. So he gets him to spill everything. He ends up writing the book, unfortunately, the name of which eludes me now. Maybe you can flash it up when this interview runs. And he came to the exact opposite conclusion. He thinks the doctor is absolutely guilty of sin of killing his wife. The doctor is upset. I think he may have even sued. He said, you tricked me. So, I mean, there is, to some extent, journalists, if they're going to be, get the interview, have to appear to be sympathetic.
Sure.
I got to say, I think Don Lemon went way above and beyond that when
Yeah.
he's directly harassing the pastor.
Yeah.
He wasn't just reporting, he's harassing. He even pulled one of my favorite liberal things. The pastor is just, being friendly and touches Don Lemon on the arm. And Lemon wheels back and says, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
pussy liberals.
It's insane. Well, I think the direct link between Don Lemon and James Tallarico is the obvious here is they're trying to like retcon Christianity. It's this weird thing because in Europe the left has just completely abandoned Christianity, and by and large the right has as well. But certainly the left here, they've just realized like, hey, if we want to accomplish our goals of libtard, like total libtard dominance, Christianity is an impediment to that because again, verse after verse rebuffs a lot of their social policies that they propose. Where Tallarico and Lemon have this interesting angle where they're like, Christianity's not going anywhere in the United States. Obviously, Christians still make up a massive chunk of the electorate, and you got to at least pass the sniff test with Christians to have electoral success in a lot of these states like Texas and these sorts of things. And so what you see Lemon and specifically Tallarico really hammers on this is they do this thing where they try to paint Jesus as some sort of like hippie who all he is concerned with is your pleasure. That is like his number one priority, is that you're having a pleasurable experience as a human being. And so Tallarico goes on Colbert's show the other day and he goes, well, you know, Jesus, the religious right has been lying about, you know, Christ, and they are just obsessed with abortion and gay marriage, when in actuality, like, Christ really just wants you to be happy. And if that child in your womb is going to potentially cost you a promotion, you should just kill it. That's what Jesus would have wanted. What is going what is going on here with these libtards? Like, why are they even paying lip service to Christianity? Shouldn't they just be trying to destroy it? Because obviously it just rebuffs them at every turn.
I didn't watch the interview. That's hilarious. No, I think it was coincidentally, he died this week, Jesse Jackson, who pioneered that strategy at the Democratic National Convention, saying, you know, if you're really pro-life, you'll be for after-school programs.
Yeah.
You'll be for welfare for working mothers. You will be for daycare center. Their idea of, you know, whatever liberal policy comes along. You're for NGOs bringing illegals across the border. No, Jesus didn't say anything about that.
Right.
And oh my gosh, the plan is not to make you happy.
Yeah, literally.
I don't think this is a religion that would have toppled the Roman Empire and spread throughout the world if that had been Jesus's messages. Be nice to people.
Yeah.
You just put a smiley face bumper sticker on. Oh, you're a Christian. No, I think the Christian is, or the Christian message is, the Son of God came to earth, got the crap beaten out of him for you sinners who could never get to heaven without him. You get to present his report card and not your report card. Because of that grace, Christians like us are just so enormously grateful. We want to abide by God's law. I mean, what a gift it is. Everything else is taken care of. It does bring contentment, in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about, you know, where your place is in the world, your status. Do people like me? What are my ratings? It's the big things taken care of. Just go out and do your best. That is the message. You're absolutely right that gay marriage. I know lots of gays who are married. I wish them the best, but no, you can't say it's consistent with the Bible. You just can't.
Yeah.
I don't have to bring it up all the time, though. As long as we're on the subject, what annoys me about the gay rights movement, besides the fact that they're now just letting in, well, I guess they aren't. I was going to say they were for a while letting in the mentally ill, like transgenders. I've said to my gay friends, you know, how about, you know, schizophrenics? Why don't you add on agoraphobes? You're going to throw the whole mentally ill in there.
Right.
But okay, you're gay. Everybody's always known there have been gays. Christian heterosexuals do plenty of their own sexual sinning. But one thing we don't do is hold parades for like, go fellatio outside of marriage.
Right. Yeah, like guy cheats on his wife and he throws like a ticker parade. It's like, it's not really how we operate.
Or for adultery. This is the adultery. Don't brag about it. That's,
literally.
You know, kind of a higher level than just doing it.
Yeah, just handle that at the Holiday Inn and then get out of the way. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, like again, like it gets rebuffed at every turn, like, these sorts of ideas. And it's just, I think fundamentally, Lemon, Tallarico, they're really banking, and by extension Jesse Jackson, they're really banking on the fact that they truly believe that Americans, Christians specifically, are retarded. I think that's fundamentally what they think, because again, Christians, John Root, he put up every verse that was rebuffing what Tallarico said. It's super useful, but I think most Christians, evangelicals, Catholics, you name it, look at what he said and they just instinctually know that that's wrong. This guy's lying to me. This guy's a snake oil salesman. Because again, you look at like Christ's message, how do I achieve salvation? How do I achieve communion with Christ? Well, fundamentally, it's about denying yourself. And, back to the earlier point, how is killing a child, because again, they're like an impediment to your career, how is that a form of denying yourself? It's utterly ridiculous. And I just can't believe that, these guys are still trying to push this sort of woke Christianity, so to speak, because
That's actually pretty amazing. I mean, they've
yeah,
been faking Christianity for a long time. Usually, they're stronger. The big position was the Bible doesn't say anything about abortion.
right.
Well, I think you can kind of read between the lines
Yeah.
on the "thou shalt not kill,"
Yeah.
but let's leave that aside. That has been their argument, that it isn't inconsistent with Christianity to say that it's actually like a sacrament.
Right. Yeah.
No, you are fulfilling Christ's word by killing the innocent baby
Yeah.
sleeping in your womb.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
It's like, I shouldn't laugh; it's so sick. But
yeah. Well, it's just insane. I mean, like the idea that like Christ's happiness is a priority, or your happiness is a priority to Christ. It's like the disciples. He literally went to him. He's like, "Hey, by the way, for the rest of your life, you're going to be single and homeless. Is that okay?" Like this idea that was
and
his priority. Is
hated
crazy.
because of me.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I was hated first, he said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get used to it, Christians. You are going to be hated. The Democrats have been pushing this fake Christianity for such a long time. I first noticed it, I think it was around Obama's time. They actually had wordsmiths. I forget the guys' names, but they were working up ways that Democrats could sound like they believed in God without like compromising their principles and
Right.
actually saying that they did believe in God. But I remember one of the phrases was, and you'll see them saying this all the time, you should talk about God's green earth.
A little too on
Whoa,
the
you
nose,
must be a really deep Christian.
Right. Yeah. Wow. This guy's clearly a theologian. This is really some unbelievable revelations about
I always wanted
Christianity.
to have you remind me, because this has been going on forever. I don't believe any Democrat believes in God.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of the ones who are of the flock of the normal people. I'm sure there's some people, but an elected Democratic politician, I don't think there's a one of them who believes in God. So, people have always asked me to have a TV show, but I can't, because I think you lose a point of your IQ for every day you have a TV show.
I know, right?
But
Real.
the one show I said I would have is I'd invite Democrats on my program, put them on a lie detector test. So I'd be under one too, and ask them questions like, do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Do you love the United States of America?
Hmm. Yeah. Literally.
I'll answer the questions under a lie detector test.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even want to, the Democrats obviously were on the same page here as well as the audience. I don't want to let Republicans off the hook either, because as soon as a Bergefell, as soon as that decision was laid down, virtually every Republican just immediately like laid down their weapons. They're like, okay, finally, I don't have to like entertain the evangelical base anymore and pay lip service to like the defense of marriage. Finally, I can just abandon this issue. I mean, you have these like, these evangelical warriors. There's so many of them. It's basically every senator who will again like portray themselves as if they're like this evangelical warrior, this deep Catholic, or this sorts of thing. And then as soon as, for whatever reason, if they ever were to get pressed on gay marriage, they clam up and they freeze and they go, well, I just don't think that's like up for debate right now. Maybe that's later down the road. It's like, what happened to this, this bold chest beating over Christianity? And they certainly will let that play into their geopolitical views, not to get too controversial here. But then as soon as it comes to, again, like tangible bread and butter issues, like, I don't know, should a man and a man be married and that should be considered a marriage? Suddenly it's not worth talking about. Suddenly it's worth abandoning. It's so crazy to me.
Speaking of courage, that has always been what I would put at the pinnacle of true courage in today's America, to come out and say you are against gay marriage.
Yep.
Now, in at least some of their defense, the Supreme Court's ruled. There's not really much you can do about it. There was a
Sure.
lot of organizing until then. And by the way, when people voted, and this must have gone far beyond the evangelical base. I mean, look at how the states were voting. When it was put to a vote,
Yeah.
gay marriage could not win. It was losing by huge, huge, overwhelming majorities.
Hmm.
Um, so on one hand, no, nothing can be done. But on another hand, and here I'll sort of segue into one thing I am very sympathetic to the gays pushing gay marriage on us on, and that is exactly what you're talking about. And I don't mean to be critical. I like Christian ministers, by and large,
Yeah.
but they'll thunder against homosexuality, but not against premarital sex, not against adultery, because
Yeah.
they know they're looking out at a congregation where hopefully there aren't a lot, but there are certainly young kids engaging in premarital sex. There
Sure.
are probably a few adulterers in the crowd, but that they won't rail against. And so I just sort of feel like with everything and abortion and the pill and I mean, the way Hollywood promotes, first or second date. Whoa, you haven't had sex for a month. Um, it is immorality is so pushed on us.
Yeah.
Uh, that is real courage, standing up to that.
Yeah.
But the gays were the last ones at the sexual revolution window
Sure.
in their defense.
Yeah.
Hey, how about us?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the selective courage is really what drives me crazy, because you see this all across I guess you would call it like the conservative movement across the right broadly. Is you have these different lobbies, these different groups who have like their issue, and they will go to bat over it, and they'll demand that I'm one of the most pro-life people. I believe in a total ban on abortion, like no ands, ifs, or buts. So I'm like as pretty much as radical on abortion as you can get. But likewise, I almost despise the pro-life lobby, because they will go to war with any politician that doesn't, show complete allegiance, consistency with their positions. But then they will like basically undercut any other conservative policy. Like when it comes to immigration, suddenly they get like really antsy over it, and they like are like, well, is this Christian? Maybe like this, that, and the other. A lot of these people coming here have Christian values. Maybe these people should be permitted in. And it's like, it's so frustrating. Like I'm just picking them out because that's the topic we're on. Is again the selective courage, where it's like they will go to war over this, and like rightfully so. But then as soon as it's any other issue, they do not go to bat. And in many ways, they undercut it. They take snips at, people that are conservative across the board. And it's just so frustrating, the selective courage.
Yes, yes, and it's particularly on the two you mentioned. Um, w- yes, fine. A lot of the immigrants are Christian Catholic, but that's not what they vote on.
Right. Yeah.
I've been hearing this my entire life about African Americans,
Yeah.
and it's true. You ask them issue by issue, they are like one-on-one
Yeah.
with Christian Republicans, and then election day comes along
Yeah.
and 90% for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's the way immigrants vote too.
Yep.
They may be against abortion, but they want government benefits, and they will vote for the Democrats. And if the Democrats are in office, how do you think abortion policies are going to do then?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, because it kind of gets at this idea where the line for the longest time for people on conservatives is like the reason why black people aren't voting for Republicans, the reason why immigrants aren't voting for Republicans is identity politics. Identity politics is at the crux of the issue. And if we can somehow destroy identity politics, then, black people will finally wake up, and they'll, they like the language they use, like they'll get off the plantation. They'll finally come and vote for, your, name Republican politician here. And it's like, identity politics is a very like natural thing for humans to engage in. Of course, people are going to look out for their own in-group. Of course, they're going to have an in-group preference. That's just human nature. And so it's just utterly ridiculous where it's like, let's just, for immigration, for example, let's just keep flooding the country with like migration. And then maybe one day if we hand out enough pocketbook constitutions, they'll finally realize like, wait, I'm lobbying for my own ethnic group's interests. I should be lobbying for these like abstract ideas like freedom and liberty. And it's like, how many times do we have to learn this lesson before we realize, hey, identity politics is probably not going anywhere? Like, it's insane to me.
Although I have to footnote that there's one group that absolutely does not engage in
Yes,
identity
yeah.
politics, but that's important to the point you're making. No, we will. There are all kinds of, if we just do this one thing, if we were just nicer to black people, if they didn't see us as racist, if we
Yeah,
get rid of identity politics, if we talk about abortion and marriage more. Oh, yeah. By the way, black people not fans of
right.
gay marriage. No, none of this is going to work. I promise you, my life, your life, the lives of your children, blacks will still be voting 90% for the
Yeah,
Republicans.
yeah,
I love black Republicans. I mean, they're very brave to step outside your group. They're always, my saying is, our blacks are better than their blacks.
so true.
Any black person who would leave the Democratic Party and become a Republican,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, they're not just rolling into it. They've thought about it. They tend to be very articulate and strong in their beliefs and excellent at at making arguments because they have thought about it and
yeah,
probably argued with their families, their neighborhoods, everything else. Um, but no, we're not going to get them. The good news about white people not having identity politics, no one will ever go to a white person who voted Democrat and say, "You voted against your
yeah,
race?"
yeah,
No, white people kind of split their votes,
yeah,
and whites are still a majority. So if Republican candidates would just, as Trump did, just drive up the white vote.
yeah.
If you increase the black or Hispanic vote, fantastic. That's icing on the cake, but that's not how you're going to win elections.
Yep. Yeah, you have to run up the numbers. On the first point, it's funny. Like, yeah, you meet a black Republican, and it's almost like when you meet like an ex-Scientologist. Like, they know Scientology better than any Scientologist because they like actively rejected it. It's the same with black Republican. They know like every detail about the Democrat Party. They know like every single infraction that a politician said. I love it. I love meeting them. It's the funniest thing ever. And they're great, obviously, and they're welcome in the party. It's just there's not very many of them. That's sort of the issue. But to your
I
second,
know.
yeah, and then to your second point, that's the secret sauce. Every Republican is petrified of like even alluding to the fact that like, hey, it's okay to be white. Like they're absolutely petrified of that. Nothing scares them more. Where Trump, like for what it's worth, in 2016, he comes out and he's like, they're sending rapists, they're sending criminals. Like he's like going off. And then he does better with Hispanics than any other president in history. So it's like any Republican. So it's like hilarious that just by again just not being afraid of the fact that you just are a white person. Well, actually, like a lot of Hispanic voters kind of appreciate that. They're like, well, maybe this guy's not pandering to me. That's actually kind of refreshing, and his economic policy is
Not
not too bad.
only that, his policies right now, no one is talking about this. I should write a column about this because it needs to be highlighted. I don't care what the polls show. If anything, legal Hispanics in this country are doing so much better
Yeah,
economically because of the deportations.
yeah,
Whose jobs are all of these, construction workers and hospitality workers and so on? Whose jobs are they taking?
yeah,
They're taking jobs of the legal Hispanics who came in. They're taking a lot of, I'm sorry, yes, black jobs. They're taking a lot of white jobs too, but this is definitely hitting. I mean, that's, the joke headline of the New York Times from Joe Sobran: earthquake hits New York, women and minorities hit hardest.
mm,
It is absolutely true that bringing in low wage workers, low skilled workers hurts minorities most.
yeah,
And Hispanics,
absolutely.
they may not vote on abortion, but they don't vote if they're legally voting. They don't vote
Sure.
on immigration either. Deportations are helping their economic prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, you go to like Texas, if you go to like the Rio Grande Valley and you talk to like legal Mexican voters, again, especially if they have, a few generations in the country, like white people, when you ask them about like deportations, that sort of thing, they'll be like, well, like, there's some sort of economic indicators that maybe like we should probably be deporting people, that they'll reference crime. And they have these like really well polished talking points on why we should support mass deportations. And then you go to the border and ask like Mexicans there their thoughts on mass deportations. And they're like, our immigration policy should be built around cranial measurements. And you're like, whoa, what is going on? It's insane.
Well, I know their wages are going up. I mean, that's why the businessmen and, the fancy ladies on Park Avenue aren't very, very happy about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of labor is getting more expensive as the supply of it decreases with deportations. If Trump just keeps it up, I think he's going to do, well, maybe not he, since he won't be running for re-election, but his successor will do just fine in 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Well, I guess to kind of put a bow on the initial story, Is it your assessment that, and it seems like it's kind of obvious, so this may maybe even just be a rhetorical question, but is it your assessment that Colbert, the establishment, are so petrified of Jasmine Crockett's incompetence that that's why they're actively crowding her out of the primary? Because, I mean, I never thought in 2026 I would be defending Jasmine Crockett's right to go on the Stephen Colbert show, but that's just kind of where we are. To me, it kind of has, it kind of reminds me of like how they treated Bernie in 2016. Is again, they just their consultant class, et cetera, have said this lady is so electorally unviable that we need to do whatever we can to keep her off of the ballot. Is that your assessment?
Absolutely. Boy, you haven't seen her much on MS Now.
Thank you for not dead
Although their
naming
politics
MSNBC.
are
That's very good.
very
Yeah,
closely aligned. I wish Republicans would behave more like Democrats.
yeah,
Perhaps
for
we
real.
have after the Tea Party blowout of what year was that? 2010, I guess. Yeah, that
Hmm.
really hurt us. You need viable candidates,
Hmm.
even if you think they're not perfect. In fact, even if they're horrible, I'm speaking to Republicans now. Even if they're horrible rhinos, until we have massive majorities in the House and the Senate, no voting for the hardcore Republican who could possibly lose. No, no running
Yeah.
against Republican incumbents. I'd say.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, and because there's it's the way the discourse is right now, it just bends towards like the worst incentive structures. So you get these guys. I'm not going to name them, but you get some of these guys running for office right now against rhinos, and instead of just being like, no, I'm going to be really tough on immigration, I'm going to like really back the Trump policy. They feel like they got to go a step further and appeal to like the Twitter timeline. So they endorse these just like insane policies. That's why you have this I'll just say it, like you have the situation in Ohio where you just have like horrible candidates all across the board because you have like one guy who's just concerned about like what Twitter thinks about him, and then you have like Vivek who's like effectively an anchor baby. It's like what is going on in Ohio? It's just like maybe we need some more gatekeeping. Is that what we need? Like I don't know what's going on.
Yes, I don't know how, or I mean, because the official Republican Party seems so utterly bankrupt. I don't know, maybe America First, Stephen Miller's old policy institute could choose our candidates
Yeah,
for us.
for real.
But no, I'm baffled at what's happening in Ohio, man. No, and of course the Democrats are running a very, very, fake out the voters
Yeah,
Democrat who seems utterly moderate. I think she's pro guns.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
she's pro all kinds of things that no, as soon as she's in office, I promise you, she will be Abigail Spanberger.
yeah. Literally. Yeah, it's just a train wreck. It's like okay, there's encouraging signs from the executive, but man, when you look at the state of the GOP right now, it's hard to stay optimistic sometimes because and JD Vance, I mean, when he runs in 28, it's going to be I mean, the environment is going to be the most toxic thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Like it's going to be mental to say the least.
I think that's right. I do think I mean, we'll see, a lot can happen, but I do think he is very capable of handling it.
I hope so. Yeah,
It's so
I
nice to
agree.
have someone articulate, high IQ. We have so many inarticulate
Yeah.
Republicans. Um, he's so good when he's interviewed on TV. He is
Hmm.
so good in a debate.
Yeah.
I mean, I've given some college speeches and I've noticed some young kids are claiming they don't trust him, I guess, because he wasn't immediately on the Trump bandwagon. He's
Sure.
very young. He just got out of Yale. Think of all the brainwashing he had been through.
Yeah.
I think given his background, he's someone who, in his heart cares about working
Yeah.
Americans, the working class.
Absolutely. I think above all, he's just amazing at framing because that's the number one thing Republicans struggle with is like as soon as we get hit with a controversy, we just panic and like eat our own. Where JD Vance, it was after the group chat leak on the Politico hit piece, and then he's like, I don't really care what a bunch of kids said because the AG candidate in Virginia is literally like threatening to kill Republicans. Like when I saw that, I'm
Yes.
like, thank you. Like finally one guy that understands framing. It's about time.
Yes, and he didn't have a lot of time to think of what to say. No,
Yeah.
he's very quick on his feet. I look forward to a JD Vance candidacy. Who knows? Something else could happen,
Sure.
but I think we're in good stead right now. So good for Trump for choosing him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I
Way
know.
better than the last vice
Oh
president.
my gosh, yeah. Speaking of like just pandering to evangelicals, I mean that's like the definition of it. That guy, train wreck. I wonder what he's up to now. I don't think anyone knows. Um,
I
well,
know.
Ann,
He's
thank you.
like Don Lemon.
Yeah, literally, yeah, yeah, for real. We'll see him on leading a charge at some point in the next 2 years or something. Who knows? But I know we're running out of time here, Ann. I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I know probably most people are already following you at this point, but where can people find you to get more?
Oh, thank you for asking me. I'm so bad at self-promotion. Substack, it's so much fun. I'm an excellent writer. I'm an excellent interviewer. I'm a
Facts.
terrible businesswoman, so
No.
it's pretty much all free. AnnCoulter.substack.com. You should sign up right away.
I love it. And thank you so much for coming on. It's such a privilege to be able to chat with you. I guess I'll
Anytime. Great to talk to you.
absolutely. Well, I'll see you next time then.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, that was the great Ann Coulter. Kellen, I'll let you handle that over there. Well, I'll just go ahead and do some housekeeping as we wind the show down. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And I will see you guys next time. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Timcast News Live. Follow me after you follow Ann. Head on over and follow me at X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Come give me a follow. I want to hear your thoughts on James Tallarico. Do you think maybe I've missed something and he actually is the most authentic interpretation of Christianity in 2026? Probably won't hear that opinion very much, but anyway, follow me. Send me a message what you guys want to see on the show. We're thinking about doing like a mailbag section, so people sending in questions or arguments or whatever you want to argue with something I've said. I know a lot of you guys want to, so well, send me some ideas of what you guys want to see with that. But yes, follow me. We'll be back tonight for Timcast RL at 8 p.m. I will be on tonight, so I'll see you guys on the show. We have the great Amber Duke coming on. She's one of my favorites. I'm very excited to have her on. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.